Thank you everyone for joining us today. Today's Training Tuesday session is on Dynamics 365 CRM and automating your digital communications. Our goal is to talk about sales, marketing, and communications. And based on looking at those who registered, I see that you each have diverse audiences. Your audiences may be business-to-business clients, consumers, or association members. Others may be looking for lead generation, communicating with new prospects, and then even some have more of an internal audience, talking to employees or members of your own supply chain. Whichever your audience, we're here to share with you some ideas and updates and how we can use Microsoft's CRM applications and marketing automation tools to improve your digital communications. So my name is Scott Jorgens. I'm from Endeavour, Director of Marketing here, and with me is Annie Zemla-Hayes, who's a marketing technology specialist at ClickDimensions. I'll have Annie work with us in the second half of our training session to provide a live demo of ClickDimensions. So, sharing some of our knowledge and things that we've been learning over the last few months, given the current and past government restrictions as a result of COVID-19 pandemic, there's a number of new trends that are influencing our ability to reach out to targeted audiences. As you know, in-person events such as trade shows have been canceled or moved online. Knowledge workers are working from home. Those are embracing web meetings, video calls. There's an overall level of increased reliance on digital communications. Digital communications being your website, landing pages, social media, emails and email campaigns, and other digital platforms. Combined with this is the fact that there's challenges emerging and evolving, getting your message heard. There's clearly financial and economic uncertainty that may be affecting the behaviors and influencing people's conscious or even unconscious measures of value and how they perceive value. And finally, the fourth key influence that we've been seeing is that on average, people seem to be more busy. Either challenges in balancing their work life with kids running around or working from home with other stresses, and changes in productivity. Obviously, a variety of factors contributing to people's productivity and their sense of current work habits as we enter the summertime. So for those knowledge workers working from home or now recently back in the office, there's a general sense of unease and anxiety that we're finding. Information overload to really see to have this laser focus on trying to avoid distractions. It could just be overcompensating from working from a new work from home environment, or just based on their own productivity needs and trying to finish off the day within a reasonable time. So as marketers, we need to be conscious of how we're presenting our content in the light of these influences, which brings me to, we need to work smarter, we need to be digital, and we need to be relevant. Really, it's that relevancy that we're trying to solve with nurture marketing. So enter nurture marketing. Nurture marketing, we're going to talk about in today's session, why nurture marketing, what it is, how to prepare for it, and then as I mentioned, I'll transfer over to Annie for a quick introduction to ClickDimensions and show you a live demo of their tool sets for marketing automation and nurture marketing within Dynamics 365 or CRM on-premise. So, why should you use nurture marketing? Because it gives you the opportunity to be more relevant to your target audiences. Increased relevancy, which is telling your audience the right things at the right time, will provide you with better quality communication. Being relevant equates to bringing value, which can lead to, obviously, better actions and better outcomes. That's the purpose of your communications in the first place. Not being relevant presents the risk that your audience is not reading your email. Or even worse, unsubscribing, which, according to Canadian anti-spam rules, means you can no longer share your great content with them in the future. Now, not all subscribes are bad. Unsubscribes can be a good thing, especially if the person's not or doesn't belong within your target audience. But if they do belong and simply find that your email is not relevant this time, then you may have an issue. And it's this specifically the issue of relevance. This is the issue that nurture marketing helps to overcome, supporting a better segmented set of data, pace and distribution of relevant content. So, what is nurture marketing? It's the concept that having additional segmented data within your email, subsequent emails, and other digital communications, that with that segmented content, you can increase the relevancy and timing of your messages. As you can see, there's two key components: if-then statements and the ability to automate. Say you have three client segments and content for each. We'll call it A, B, and C. So from Endeavour's perspective, we have three CRM buckets. CRM on-premise, we have CRM sales, and we have CRM, those focused on customer service. With nurture marketing, I can send a CRM-centric newsletter with content that appeals to all three, or I can try to segment my communications with links to unique content for each. So with this as an example, A content could be CRM on-premise, those looking for upgrades. B content, guidance on improving customer service. So in nurture marketing, if someone clicks on my email that has all three, and they click on the A bucket, the CRM upgrade, this hints that that individual may be interested in additional A-style content. So my example, A content was CRM upgrades. So maybe I send them something on project plans and best practices for upgrades in the next day or two or the next week or so. Completely different example, let's look at internal. If you want to use nurture marketing for internal employee communications, if we look at three buckets again, one could be dealing with young children while working from home. Second could be employee assistance program and mental health. And the third could be how to request your summer vacations. Now, your three buckets don't have to be mutually exclusive. They can overlap. You can have some people choosing some or others or all three. You also don't have to have just three buckets. You may have only one or two buckets of information with one or two levels deep, or maybe you have 5 buckets. So back to this internal employee example, say you have an employee who doesn't have kids, probably not interested in your depending on your setup and business logic within your nurture marketing, they can click on vacation content, and you're like, okay, they might be interested in vacation content. Let's send them some tips on how to request summer vacation and information in your vacation policy in 2 or 3 days' time. And if they click on mental health, maybe we want to send them something, a little perk or quote of the day once a week, and we'll put them onto that and see how that gets them going. So really, what you're doing is you're guessing and anticipating the type of content, the timing, and the relevancy. So looking at each of your segments and thinking, okay, 2 or 3 levels down, how is that going to play out? What kind of how do we want to move that through a almost a journey? So let's look. How do we prepare for nurture marketing? And these are things that everyone on the line can do. You can do this in a manual process, or obviously automated is going to be that much stronger and that much easier to work with en masse. So how do you prepare to pull off this marketing genius being nurture marketing? The top requirements is to have segmented content. And you want segmented content that's progressively more relevant as your audience flows through their journey. You have to figure out what their journey is and anticipate that based on different segments. But typically, from a business-to-business perspective, there's a buying cycle. I think I have a need. I have a need. I'm now going to look for options and then choose the best one. Consumers work in a similar fashion. Obviously, business to business has, depending on the size of the opportunity and what's involved, there may be multiple players. There may be different risk appetites, and they want to get extra information. It's not just a quick whim for a purchase. Other times it is. So, as I mentioned, you can have 2 or 3 pieces of content deep. You can have 2 or 3 wide. You can have 4 wide. You start doing the math on that. 3 deep and 3 wide. That's 9 pieces of content. 3 deep, 5 wide. 15 pieces of content, and there may be different pieces that are relevant to where they are in their life cycle. So once you have your content, you map out the steps and the information journey that you want to lead your audience through. Often these steps may lead to a small tweak back onto your content to further tell a relevant story to what you think your prospective audience is going through. You're not repeating information that was in the content before because, by them getting to the 3rd level, they've already received the 2nd level of content, and it had a certain story within that. So you want to have that continuity. And then finally, looking at a marketing automation tool such as Click Dimensions from a technical side to work with the if-then, and the if-then is really a trigger, and then sending out well-timed emails and digital communications based on the content that you put together. So with that said, I'd like to introduce Annie from Click Dimensions. Annie, I'll let you introduce yourself, talk more about Click Dimensions, and then we'll move into the showcase for Nurture Marketing.
Thank you, Scott, and thank you everyone for joining this morning. Excited to show you a little bit about how Click Dimensions campaign automation works today. But as we get started into this discussion, it's important to note what Click Dimensions is. And Click Dimensions is a marketing automation solution that becomes part of Dynamics 365 or Dynamics CRM. It can work with both online and on-premise environments. It allows you to see how people are interacting with the emails you're sending. We track delivers, opens, clicks, unsubscribes, and bounces back to the contact information in your CRM environment. So you can do that with just emails that you're sending out, such as newsletters, or with our focus today in automated campaigns, allowing you to keep the information in front of them timely and relevant. So let's talk a little bit more specifically about campaign automation and how we can use that with the rest of the features of Click Dimensions. And so when we look at campaign automation, it allows you to create that customer journey that Scott was talking about based on what people are actually interested in, focusing on what they want to move forward with based on where they're at in their journey. And so with a number of features of Click Dimensions, we can use a number of these as part of our campaign automation, but we do provide web intelligence and tracking, so we can track who's coming to your website, what pages they're going to, and how long they're spending there. We have the ability to create forms, surveys, and landing pages as well. Click Dimensions forms can actually create new leads and contacts within Dynamics 365, so there's no manual entry of those as they fill out your forms. There's also event management, so that you can see who's registering for and attending specific events. We do have the ability to do that lead nurturing, lead scoring, and tracking with your leads that come in as well. And then, of course, multi-channel orchestration. We have the ability to send those emails, send text message to Dynamics 365 marketing lists, create and schedule social posts. Again, do that web tracking and survey people based on their responses. And then campaign management. Not only do we have campaign automation, but Click Dimensions also works seamlessly with the campaign entity that comes with Dynamics 365 to allow you to better track how your campaigns are progressing, if they were beneficial, if there's things that maybe you can tweak, and a marketing calendar to show you when it's all happening. So with that, I will move into the live product demo. So we'll show you what campaign automation looks like, how to create some email templates as well. So I will go ahead and share my screen here. So with any campaign automation, you're going to want to create email templates that are going to catch attention, that are going to kind of start that out with, here's some different things that you might be interested in, and as they click through those, deciding where they go next. So you can start in Click Dimensions with a number of featured templates or basic layouts, but the main thing I want to get across with these templates is that they're automatically mobile responsive. And so as you're sending those emails, a lot of people are on the run or picking up kids or just working in a different environment than they're used to. You'll see that a lot of them are also checking their email from their phones. I know I do constantly. So as we come in here, we can see both the desktop and mobile previews for these emails. These are the same emails that we'll be putting into the automated campaign. So they're automatically optimized for mobile. In addition, Click Dimensions allows you to really personalize those emails, and that's important in campaign automation as well. You want them to be able to know that you're speaking to them, even though it might be an automation that's going out to a marketing list of hundreds. You want to really focus on who you're trying to reach. So with Click Dimensions, it's very easy to personalize your emails. I can pull the first name right from the contact record, or lead record if you choose to use that. And no matter who I send this to, it's now going to pull through their first name. And this can actually access any field within your Dynamics environment so that you could pull through their first name, you could pull through maybe product interest, whatever it might be, but it really allows you to focus the emails that you're sending. Now this is just the tip of the iceberg for the email editor. Of course, you have the ability to add your own images, social links, social sharing links, videos, and so on. But to get to the heart of the discussion here, we need to take a closer look at how campaign automation works. And so within campaign automation, when you're using Click Dimensions, you'll talk about triggers and actions. And I've already created one here that has started with a marketing list. You can segment your marketing list in Dynamics 365 based on what you know about your leads, contacts, or accounts. So if you need to create a marketing list of everyone who's from a specific geographical area and has purchased something in the last 2 years, you could do that. You're just pulling that information from Dynamics and creating a very segmented marketing list for this campaign. So we can easily add those marketing lists as we start this. I'll add one that I've created here. And then I have an email here that we're going to send as part of this campaign. Now, there's 3 different links here, kind of going back to that same example that Scott had about having, a version A, B, C, for maybe different things people might be interested in. Now, all of those things were in the first email, but based on which link each person clicked, we know what type of information we need to focus on for them. So we're keeping the information timely and relevant. How are we keeping it timely? Well, if they're looking at option A, so whatever the topic is for A, we'll go in with this wait timer, and I don't want everything going out at once. I'm not going to flood their inbox. So we'll wait 3 days, and I really only want to make sure it's going out in the Eastern time zone Monday through Friday. I'm not going to bother them on the weekends with these emails. And I can easily do that here. And then we'll have the email, another email specific to that type of content. And we can do that for each click. So with these email interactions, we can go in and select which link is going to move them forward within the campaign automation. And you'll hear me say this a lot. The big thing with campaign automation is timely. Make sure the emails aren't going out all at once, but that you're keeping in front of them over time. So you want to keep that information in front of them, but not send it all at once. And you want to keep it relevant. What are they actually interested in? That's why we break out these email interactions in 3 different sections. Now, maybe they didn't interact at all. Doesn't mean we necessarily need to stop the campaign automation, but we can go ahead and at a specific date and time, again, we can set this by time zone, by days of the week you want it to go out. We can send another email to check for interaction. And when we do that, maybe this time if they interact, we had something here like, click more if you'd like to hear from us. You can actually notify someone within your organization and set a task for them to follow up. And the way these tasks work is they also flow through to their Outlook. Maybe they haven't interacted at all, but we don't necessarily want to stop reaching out to them, but they might not be a fit for this marketing list. We can remove them from the marketing list and add them to a new marketing list. Maybe a list for colder leads that we want to reach out to at a later time. So there's a number of things we can do as far as campaign automation for emails. But what do you do when you need to automate something that's not specific to emails? Click Dimensions provides a number of templates for you that you can start with. So you can have the ability to follow up with content download on your website. Maybe you have a contact us form and you want to see what it looks like to follow up with that. We have something set up here as well that you can start with and add your own flavor to if you want to branch this out more. Something I commonly see is it's very important to have response time to any forms on your website. The quicker you reach out to them, it's on their mind. They know, yep, I heard from them right away as soon as I reached out. So the nice thing about Click Dimensions is anytime you use a form, and we'll just choose one here. It's easy to add the forms you've already created within Click Dimensions. We'll follow up with them based on what they're actually interested in. So if you have a form and you have a couple of different options, much like we saw in the email scenario, you can go in and say, okay, if on this form they are interested in this specific piece and it's true, we'll send them email 6. If on this form and it is false, so the other option, we'll send them email 7. So we're continuing to keep the information relevant, but responding to them right away as soon as they're filling out those forms. And when they've done that, maybe there's a click here to have someone from our team reach out to you. You want to be specific with how you follow up with that so that you can make sure it's the right owner in your Dynamics environment and it's the right task assigned to them to follow up. So even though you see campaign automation very commonly used for just email, there's a lot of applications for it. It's not just add a marketing list and follow through, which is a great use case for it, but how are we following up with their forms? If we have surveys out there, are we following up with those as well? Anytime a field is updated in Dynamics, we can trigger a campaign automation. So there's a number of applications for this, but the important thing is just making sure they're on the right journey for them. And this is great. You can see the journey, you can come through, but how do you see how that contact is interacting? So we can actually go into contact records in Dynamics 365 as well to see how they're interacting with those Click Dimensions pieces. So here's my record in Dynamics. We can go in and see all of the related pieces to that, but we've actually created a section called Marketing Journey that we like to view for our contacts. That will show me very quickly if this person has hit the website recently or completed a Click Dimensions form. And you can see that right here. So this is an easy add to your Dynamics environment when you're using Click Dimensions. But in another case, if you want to see maybe how I've interacted with emails, you can just go to the related marketing section on the record and email events available there. So if I've interacted with a campaign automation, if I've clicked on a number of different emails, then I can easily see what that person is up to. From there, maybe you want to see an overall view. You can go into the active email events section and see anyone who's clicked on an email. And this is going to give you a view not only of your campaign automation emails, but any emails that you might be sending. So we can go through and see that Joel's interacted with a number of emails. Joe's interacted with a number of emails. And all of that information comes right back to Dynamics 365, whether you're sending that through campaign automation or another email send page that we have that allows you to send a once-off email. In addition, it's important to understand how to use a campaign. And when you're doing a campaign automation, it might have a form, a survey, a landing page, all of those things associated to it. And when you do that, you want to make sure that you're tracking the usefulness of that campaign. Are we getting the type of leads out of it that we want to? Are we getting interactions on the emails for the things associated to it? Tracking all of those pieces in Click to Campaign allows you to see what's happening. Are forms being posted as a part of this campaign? You'll see that this campaign also has a number of email sends, active page views, and pieces brought through, so I know what's happening and if it is getting the type of response I would like it to. Now, if the emails haven't gone out in campaign automation, maybe they're on a date after you've started it, you can change those as it's going through. Maybe you need to make some adjustments. You can also quickly view when those things are happening within your marketing calendar. You can see when your campaigns are running, when there's emails going out. If you want to see a specific day, week, or month, you can easily do that as well. You'll see here's the one that I'm working on now. And we can even create social posts if we need to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. We can do events, and that's another great way to use campaign automation. We can actually set up a campaign automation to track registrants to an event, much like the webinar today, you could use campaign automation for. And that leads me to a point that a lot of things that were once in person are moving to online. And so we have to be prepared for that. If you want to run an online event or a webinar to gain interest, a great way to do that is to use the campaign automation, and I'll show you how we build one from scratch as well. But you can go in and send an email. Maybe they're going to register for the event, and you want to make sure that they've clicked it. You'll give them some time to register, and then we'll go back and check for registration. The nice thing about Click Dimensions is we're automatically connected to GoToWebinar, WebEx, Eventbrite, and Cvent. So another way we can use that campaign automation is to check and see if they registered, and if they did, send them a reminder email. If they didn't, maybe wait a couple days and try to invite them again. And after the event, we can see if they attended. And if they did, maybe we want to add them to a marketing list of attendees and run a nurture campaign on them, much like the one I created earlier. Or if they didn't, maybe we want to remove them from the list and add them to a list to hit with a different campaign automation. So there's a number of things that you can do in times when maybe you need to do less in-person events, but run some more webinar-based events as well. So with that, I hope that gives you a good view of campaign automation, how we can do some reporting with it, different ways to use it outside of just email sends. And if you want to learn more about Click Dimensions, don't hesitate to let Scott and myself know.
Fantastic. Thanks, Annie. We're right on time. Great job. For those that do have, for those that are new to Endeavour, just want to do a quick recap. We're now into our 30th year supporting Microsoft Dynamics, ERP, CRM, and cloud applications, advisory services, implementation and upgrades, and ongoing optimization and support. We have clients globally, majority in Canada and the U.S., key offices in Toronto, Halifax, Montreal, Ottawa, and Edmonton. If you do have additional questions, reply to this webinar email or find us online or reach out to Trish, James, or Steve. We can talk to you about your CRM needs, your marketing automation needs, and introduce you to Click Dimensions. Additionally, we have access to a specialized team from Click Dimensions, and they do offer some really attractive packages to get you up and running, or even take a step further and providing like a resource augmentation of, I need a marketing professional to help me 1 or 2 days a week for the next 4 or 5 weeks to run a campaign. Or we're doing a special event and our marketing team is overwhelmed. We just need a little bit of extra help, and someone who's obviously an expert within the tool sets, get everything set up, run the campaign, tied up the bow and say thanks very much. That's also where the campaign management and metrics come in. Helps to not only justify your use of their professionals, but also your use of your time and the software associated with it. And that marketing return on investment is a great measure to be able to justify and allocate the resources accordingly. If things are extremely successful and you're really making an impact in the business, then can we do more campaigns? Can we do more? Can we invest and innovate to help drive things forward? And that's why you're here today, is to learn more on our Training Tuesdays. And thank you very much for attending today. Any final comments?
Nope, just thank you for your time today, everyone, and looking forward to answering any questions you may have.
Okay, don't see anything coming through. So everyone, will wrap up. Have a wonderful day, and look forward to seeing you at one of our future Training Tuesdays.